Hey Brad, how's it going?
Good morning, Mike.
From your standpoint, what do you think you guys need to do to improve the pre-snap operation as far as managing the clock and getting snaps off maybe earlier in counts?
Yeah, that's a
By the way, my press conference breakdown for Dave Canales comes out at 4 o'clock, so about 2.5 hours. In his last press conference, Dave Canales explicitly said, God, I wish I had the freaking thing. You know what? I'm going to try and find it off camera. And if I can, then, he literally says directly, we're getting the snap count in. It's not that, it's the center and it's Bryce Young. So I'm very curious to see how this guy comes out and says it. God, got to go find that clip now.
The first thing we did this week is a challenge of guys with three things. Just talking about being urgent into and out of the huddle, getting to the line of scrimmage so we can start to digest information as soon as possible, getting looks in the run game, getting our points right, and getting the communication echoed out up front. The second piece is brevity of communication. So coupling the tempo of getting in and out of the huddle, the tempo of getting the play called, is not adding fluff in our communication. So that kind of couples with a trust that your teammates know what they're doing. So it's all kind of tied in together. But really urgency and brevity were the two kind of themes of our pre-snap stuff, to just make sure that we're getting to the line, we're clear in our communication, and then we're trusting each other to do the right thing.
It's an interesting way to beat around the bush to say exactly what I just said. They don't think that it's the play calling. They think it's the execution from the quarterback and center.
And then I just want to follow up. You had 3 drives that basically led to 5 first downs, and I think it was like 13 minutes of offense.
Yeah, again, the offense failed us, not the defense. Defense got put in a bad situation, period. They're the only ones that got forced to be on the field.
How can you guys, I guess, streamline the process between understanding what the defense is, knowing what you're going to call, but also mining the clock when you are trailing?
Yeah, when you're trailing, you want to stay balanced for as long as you can, but then there does come a time where it's kind of go mode for us, where we got to start to push the tempo. So that's just something we've been harping in on all week, and that's, whether the situation is normal ball or we're down a couple scores and we got to get rolling. That's never the intent to extend all those drives out, especially when you're down a couple scores. But again, that's just what we've been kind of emphasizing all week. No matter the situation, we should feel that urgency to the line of scrimmage. It encourages trust in your teammates. It shows us that you know what you're doing, and then we're in attacking mode. That's what we want our culture to be about. That's what we want our offense to be about. It starts to streamline as long as that communication is brief and succinct, and then in the urgency in and out of the huddle with the play calls and everything, that's all coupled together. So you'll start to feel that urgency when it's all being addressed in practice and it becomes habit.
Okay, 2 things. One, I absolutely continue to feel that, again, they're putting the onus on Bryce Young. I understand that it could be nuanced maybe a little bit differently. You could say, hey man, it's the full execution of the offense and all this other stuff, but ultimately Bryce is getting that play in his ear. He just needs to relay it to his team, and then they need to be confident going out there. So my question is, what are we not hearing about this? Okay, I understand that this is going to take us down a tiny little rabbit hole for us just a brief second, but if it was Bryce, like let's say for example, they thought it wasn't Bryce, it was the center, it was the play calling or whatever, they would take the onus of that. Sorry, my ear itches. They would take the onus of that. They would say, you know what, Bryce is going out there. He's really conducting the offense. He's putting us in positions to win and everything like that. But instead, they're doing this weird, dance. I don't know. I previously heard one person say it, I think, perfectly. Shout out to Tim Donnelly from 99.9 The Fan, but he said, is Bryce still having confidence issues? And if that's the case where he's talking about, oh man, this way your teammates can trust you and all this other stuff, that language, that flowery, walk around the bush, that's what I feel like Brad and of course Dave are doing right now. Because as much as we want to put it on the defense, which is going to lead into my next point, which is this comment. Hey, Arno, shout out. I don't see how he can save face talking about Ejiro Evero. And I agree with you. I think that at this point, Evero's done. There's no way that Evero survives the season. But I could see a scenario where the offense continues to put the defense on the field. The offense continually is bad. Like we just talked about it. 5 drives, or was it 3 drives? Whatever he said. 3 drives, 5 first downs. That's not good enough. Period. Unless those 3 drives show up with touchdowns because you don't need the first down, man, that's a problem. Okay? Just in general. I don't see a scenario, though, where Evero survives and Dave survives. I don't see a scenario where Dave survives and Evero doesn't. I do feel like they're a little bit tied together. I understand that might seem controversial at the moment, but the defense is continually out on the field because we were unable to get the offensive ball moving. I hate that because, again, we had Tetaroa, we had Trevor, we had Rico. You know what? We even got some offensive line depth, even though we have 3 of 5 offensive linemen hurt right now. There's something there. There's something going on. And again, I need Brad to just slip up one more time because, again, he's working around it. He's trying to massage it, but he will slip up just like they always do. And that's exactly why we do these breakdowns, because these guys right here, oh, wrong side. These guys right here tell us everything every week without fail.
All right, we will go over to David Newton, followed by Darren.
Hey, Brad, good to see you. Following up on what Mike asked, can you tell me what the process is as far as the play call? Because how much influence do you have? Does it go straight from Dave to Bryce, or just kind of tell me the whole process that works there?
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good one. How does the process work to get from Dave Canales and what his offensive scheme needs to be? How does it get to Bryce? This is a great one. Also, it seems like they're totally separate. Even in the conferences, Dave alludes to EE seemingly being stubborn independence in that regard. I will say that he's probably doing, if that's the case, Evero is wanting to hold on to the wheel as he goes down. He doesn't want to hand it to somebody else. He doesn't want to do anything. He wants to do exactly what Frank Reich did. He wants to go down with his ship.
I think in between drives, we're previewing stuff, that the defense is doing, how we want to attack them. So I think there's an expectation when it comes to Bryce going out onto the field of, hey, the next couple play calls in these situations, we're expecting them to do this. You kind of want to put it in the back of their head so nothing catches them by surprise. Same thing goes with Dave when he's clicking over from, helping the game management. We have time to talk. So, hey, the next couple drives, our favorite runs, while the beauty of having, Dave is doing the game management and I get to help with the run game and hear their next thoughts of how to combat the guys up front, and then kind of consolidate all the information we're getting from all the coaches.
And there he goes. The slip up happened. Let's let him finish, though.
Give it to Dave before the drive, and then we're off and rolling.
And
so again, he's stating that the play calls are happening 2 and 3 plays ahead of time. They're talking with the run game coordinator. They're talking with the offensive line, coaches. They're talking with everybody else to get those play calls in ahead of time. That's something that Dave talked about last year. He talked about, man, if it's, 3rd and 3, we're thinking about 3rd and 3, but we're also thinking about 4th and 1, 4th and 2. What happens if we're back at 4th and 3? So I don't want to hear this anymore that it's the play calling. They're literally telling you, hey, man, we're literally 3-4 plays ahead. Also, let's see. Then if he's slapping his hands off the wheel, why would Dave be chained to EE's ship? If the season goes south, I predict Evero and Bryce taking a hike with Dave staying. Okay, if that's the case, Arno, it happens in one way. Evero's gone because the defense sucks. Bryce gets benched at some point, and he puts in literally any other quarterback. Andy Dalton, Hendon Hooker, Geno Smith, I don't really care who it is. And that person walks into the first game and does what like Dalton did last year. 300 plus passing yards, 2 or 3 touchdowns, no picks, and we win. If that's the case, I agree with you, because Dave will have showed that the offense was hurting because of Bryce. But if that's the case, then that whole Bryce Young saga comes to a screeching halt. And I wouldn't be surprised if he's traded from the organization. But yes, I could absolutely see that happening under that one scenario. But again, that's the offense actually getting the output once Bryce is benched.
Do you think that part of the process failed on that 4th and 1 call that seemed to come in late? Or
No, I think Dave addressed that. We won't get into the specifics of the play calls and that, but that's a play we've repped a ton of times, and we just got to find a way to execute.
Exactly. Thank you, Brad Isaac. Thank you, Dave Canales, for finally putting this to bed. It was on Bryce. That 4th and 1 especially, man. That he just threw it out of the backfield. That was 100% on him. I'm sorry. Nobody else gets that blame but him.
Okay, I want to ask one more thing. What did you see the impact of T-Mac on the game on Sunday? I know he felt like he should have had the deep one over the middle where he should have gotten 2 hands on the ball and called it a routine catch for him. But what was the overall impact on the game by him?
Well, talking about urgency, you see an attacking nature from T-Mac. Anytime that ball was in the air, he was going after it. He felt comfortable, right? You see the late one where we got the defensive pass interference. There's a guy who's comfortable in setting a DB up last minute to try to make a circus catch. But that's just that's confidence, right? That's the investment that he's had in the mental piece of the game and what we're trying to ask him to do. And you see a guy who's playing with urgency and an attacking nature. That's exciting. And we want our whole offense to feel that same way, and that's why we've really been pushing that emphasis this week.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yep. I think you're muted, Darren. Looks like you're trying to talk.
There we go. When you say brevity of communication, is that the number of words in a play call, or is this other things being said in that process?
No, it's the play calls really haven't changed. The length of the play calls, in the NFL, I think on every team, you're going to have some checks and balances when you have a play call. But as far as when you're communicating out at the line of scrimmage and you're using our vocabulary and you're echoing that example in a run game all the way out to the tight end, it's got to get from the center driven, all right, all the way out to the tight end. There's things on the perimeter where we're echoing route adjustments. That's got to get all the way out to the widest receiver. So it's really just being clear with how you communicate that. So you're not, you're keeping guys in the wheelhouse of things that we've practiced, as far as using vocabulary. So you have all these guys that have played on multiple teams and have called routes different things, have called, combos different things up front. But the repetition that we've gotten, all spring, all last year, going into this year with training camp is just rely on trusting our technique, trusting the vocabulary and the brevity of communication that we presented to you, and just rolling it out on game day, knowing your teammate next to you is going to have your back.
Again, also clarifying that these are plays from last year. Same length, nothing new. This is all Brad Idzik and Dave Canales telling you it's the quarterback. I don't really see any other avenue for this. I don't see a scenario where he's like, yeah, man, nothing's changed from last year. We're getting the play calls in 2 and 3 plays early. Dave Canales is accurately explaining the plays, and everybody should be prepared for this because you need to trust the guy next to you. That sounds like they don't have confidence. Again, maybe it's me. And again, shout out to anybody calling me out in the comments below. But there's something here, man. Do they not like Bryce? Do they want to go with Dalton? Do they have maybe an order from David Tepper to not do that? To say, hey, you need to, live and die by Bryce? I mean, possibly. We don't really know. But the way that we see Dave Canales, to be honest, even Brad Idzik, wrong way again. This dude did not look this old 6 months ago. Go look it up. Go look at pictures. Brad Idzik looked like he was 19. Now all of a sudden he's a 35-year-old. What happened? What freaking happened? By the way, bridge quarterback snagging a win is in the gas station snack compared to actually developing a team or a franchise player. I agree. I feel like this is where this franchise is headed right now. Like, we're going to need a bridge. Maybe for a full year and a half. But if that's the case, who are we drafting? What are we doing? There's so many more questions if that's the case. Like, literally, it completely changes the entire equation. And again, does Canales survive? Does Idzik survive? Because again, we know Ejiro Evero is gone.
Yeah. The other thing I wanted to ask was about Chuba and Rico and kind of the distribution of labor. Is that what we saw last week a reasonable expectation, or will that change week to week?
Well, you'd love to be able to continue to run the ball late into the second half. I think you'll start to see a balanced attack when you're in 4-minute mode and you're up on teams and you're trying to finish games out with running the ball and being physical. So that's when I think you'll see more base down carries from Rico and Chuba. But as far as doing the third down stuff, Rico's done a great job for us there. We'll continue to push him in that regard. Just having a good role, a good niche there, and then spelling both those guys with having some stuff for Trevor as well. It's going to pay dividends in the long run. So I do think that distribution, you feel the emphasis of trying to get Chuba going, trying to let him, impose that physical mentality early and often. But then also, just keeping a pulse on it as the game goes. He takes a big shot, give a drive to Rico when you need to, knowing we're not going to lose a step as far as the quality of running.
And again, if that's the case, if you drafted Chuba in your fantasy, man, you are seeing a loss, to be honest with you. I mean, we're expecting him to get a ton of carries. Of course, announced very first week that he's not going to be getting, an overwhelming amount of carries. We're going to be splitting it with Rico. And like Arno said, he called it, Rico was going to be the third down back. I don't know how I feel about this, though. I want to know your thoughts because I'm a Panthers first guy. I want to draft our players, I want to develop our drafted players over anybody else. I would much rather put $10 million into developing Trevin Wallace than put $5 million into developing Christian Roseboom. Christian Roseboom was not drafted to be a Panther, so get him the hell out of here. That's my thought. I'd rather have Tua Nomura out there on a regular basis. But at the same time, we need to win games. And Rico is going to help us win, hopefully, a few games. But at the same time, we're not extending him. We're not. And if we are, it's because Jonathan Brooks is done. Because right now we're looking at Chuba, who's under contract, Trevor Etienne, again, who is under contract, just drafted, Jonathan Brooks, still under rookie contract, and a Rico Dowdle that does not have a contract. I'm like 95% sure. Oh, geez, now I need to go check. I'm pretty sure we didn't pay him. I'm pretty sure he's just here on a 1 year, but yeah, 1 year, 2.75, maximum 6.25. So Rico's not going to be here next year. So no offense. Don't really care about developing Rico. I understand the splitting reps because I want a healthy Chuba in the scenario that, hey, week 17, 18, we're still competitive. But if it gets to a certain point and we're just not competitive anymore, I mean, no offense, run Chuba. Let him get his stats. He's a Panther. Let a guy like Trevor Etienne on the field. Let a guy like Bryson Tremaine or somebody like that. Jimmy Horn Jr., for that matter. Like, give me Jimmy Horn out there. But I don't love this whole, yeah, we're going to develop him sometimes and we're just going to kind of go around it. That's just my thoughts.
All right, we will go to Daryl, followed by Alex.
Hi, Brad. I wanted to ask a question regarding how the offense ended up performing on Sunday in the first game. And last year, a similar type of start to the season where Bryce wasn't sharp, the offense wasn't cohesive. Why maybe the team did not give him more, and the players in general, more reps in the exhibition season, like, for instance, the one game where they got 2 series of downs and Dave didn't think that they earned a third series. Wouldn't you think maybe you needed a little bit more work rather than less, and maybe not have the same type of start this year that happened last year?
You know what? I'm going to pause this. I never play these sounds on here, but finally somebody called out the freaking offense for sucking so bad.
What was your thought on all of that?
Yeah, I think from the outsider's view, you see the reps in preseason games. Every team manages it different. We also were benefited with 2 cross-joint practices with Cleveland and Houston, 2 very physical, good defenses that posed a lot of challenges for us. So we thought the extended reps combined with the reps that they got in the preseason games coming from those practices, our guys, they showed they were ready for the tempo of a real game and getting those live reps. Those things occurred in those 2 practices that we had. I don't have the official count on me, but I would think it'd be a normal distribution of preseason reps that starters would get when you throw all those things in there together. So we felt good about the preparation and the plan going into having 2 joint practices against other defenses and then having them ready for the season.
Okay, well, it didn't work. Nice and simple. It didn't work. Okay. Now, when you talk about defenses, again, let's swap this. Oops. Boom. Okay, so I obviously understand the first two defenses we went against, or three, I guess. Cleveland, top tier pass rusher. Not even going to argue with that. Same thing here. Same thing here. Three solid defenses, okay? What's the excuse for the Jacksonville game? What's the excuse? And then what's the excuse this week? If something happens this week, if we walk into Arizona and get blown out, we walk into Arizona and this defense is able to put the nails into our offense, what are we going to do? I want to show you something. You want to look at the Cardinals? Oh, I've clicked the wrong one. Look at these injuries. Okay, we're going to start at the bottom. Sean Murphy-Bunting, out. Another corner, out. Tackle, out. Treshawn, out. Rookie Walter Nolan, out. BJ Ojolari, out. Bilal Nichols. I mean, look at all this. Guard, another tackle, defensive tackle. Zaven Collins is a linebacker and might not play due to a hand injury. Will Hernandez is still questionable, and if he doesn't play, again, coming off of injury. Joey Blount, out. Their punter. No one really cares about the punter. Tip and then Cody Simon. Again, both might be out. Will not play in Sunday's game versus Carolina. So there we go. We're literally walking into this game versus a team that has 15 freaking people on the injury list. That is insane to me. Okay? And then look at these defenses that we go and play. Let's just hope, okay, that Atlanta doesn't have a good defense. Because, again, we normally split this. This is normally hey, man, we're going to walk in there. We might lose this one, but you know what? That later Atlanta game, week 11, we're going to get that one. There might be a situation where we walk in and lose both. And, again, my tinfoil hat theory was what happens if we go into this game and lose, go to Arizona after they come off 1-0, which I accurately predicted, and then we lose that game. Then we have to host Atlanta at home, which, again, Michael Penix looks good. It might help us out. The Drake London shoulder might be acting up, but Bijan looked amazing. So that's another issue we have. New England has a solid defense. Christian Gonzalez, they got guys. Then Miami. Hey, man, if we don't win any of these games and we lose to frickin' Miami, I'm going to, spoon my eyes out or something. This is insane. And then, again, Dallas. You know what? They have a bad front office, ownership, whatever, for getting rid of Micah Parsons. So that's great that we dodged that. But, a few weeks later, we still have to play it. That's going to be a bad game for us. Because if we don't get the wins by Miami, I don't know if we have, to be honest, I don't think we're good enough to beat the Jets. I'm sorry. They looked way better this year than they did last year. So there's an honest scenario. We could walk into 5-6 games without a win. So this Arizona game is integral. We need this. I need this win. Okay. So this idea that, what we did last year is totally okay. We rolled into New Orleans and got blown out by 30. That's okay. We went into Jacksonville and got blown out. That's okay because we're building. No, I won't accept that, Brad. I won't accept that, Dave, and I won't accept that, David Tepper.
In the practices versus the games, that the players maybe react a different way, because in the practice you could start things over. It doesn't really count. In the game, it's happening in real time, and you can't go back on it. I mean, is there a difference there in some way, though?
I would say there's definitely a difference when you're practicing by yourself. When you're practicing against our defense and we say, hey, Evero, I need that play again. Can we get it at the end of the rack? But when we're in Houston and we're practicing against Cleveland, those reps are as live as it gets. Those guys turn on a competitive switch where it feels like game mode, and we're doing extended drives, call it periods, putting guys in situations where exactly what you're saying, we want them to react, and have it be more free flow like it is in a game. That's where we felt really good about the reps they got against those two teams outside of the preseason reps as well, that they got enough of that exposure going into the season.
Yeah, but they clearly didn't. No offense, the offense looked considerably worse than the defense. And again, I'm going to try and not keep bringing that up, but once we get to Evero, it's going to be very apparent. I'm tired of the excuses. Give me wins. I don't care that you think. I don't care what you want. I don't care of anything. Show me results.
Thank you, Brad.
Yep.
Hey, Brad, I know that you were asked about T-Mac earlier, but I want to ask a follow-up on him. He was pretty upset at himself for dropping that pass in the end zone. And just generally, what does that say about a rookie who had a pretty good day otherwise, being hard on himself after that play.
That's what you want. That's what we saw in him in the pre-draft prep. His competitive nature. He wants to win in everything he does. The first thing he came back, I remember the defensive pass interference. He's like, hey, make sure they give me those yardage for that catch I just made. So there's a guy who's ultra confident, and he backs it up with a lot of skill and ability. And he's only going to continue to ascend, as he continues to get opportunities to showcase that. I'm really excited about just the attacking nature that he had, on a handful of those things down the field, and can't wait for that to grow.
I agree with that. And my initial prediction coming out of college was that he would be absolutely dynamic. And what does a shorter quarterback need? He needs to do with that big, huge frame. I like big, tall, strong receivers. So a guy like Nalo was super easy for me to embrace. But I'm not going to lie. I kind of really like Egbuka too. Again, he's going to be my fantasy darling all this year, but this division does have solid wide receivers all around. I mean, you figure the top four, Chris Olave, which, as long as he's not getting hospital balls, he should be great. Nalo, Egbuka now, and then Drake London. I mean, solid division. Corners are getting better in this division. Overall, I'm happy. I do love that he is taking accountability. I love that he already talked about going back up with that touchdown, or hopefully touchdown in the end zone with two hands as opposed to one. But at the same time, I need a quarterback that can get him the ball. I need a quarterback that can get him the ball on a regular basis, can see over the offensive line, and then I don't have to keep worrying about in these situations like 4th and 1 and you just airmail it over the end zone. Like, come on, dude.
I'm sorry to report that he did not get credited for those yards.
I know.
And then I wanted to ask about Hunter Renfrow as well. He was kind of, I don't know how fair this is, he was kind of tabbed as a replacement for Adam Thielen once Adam got traded. I wanted to get your take. Do you think that is a fair one-to-one comparison? And if it is, how do you find a way to get him more involved in week 2?
Our stable receiver room, once Adam was, out of the room, we still had Jalen, and then Jalen went down, obviously, and Hunter was there as well, and he had so many accumulated reps where he's already developed that trust with the quarterback and with us as coaches. So it's just a matter of making sure that, the workload was right for him, but then also just continuing to learn the guy. When you get into a game plan mode, when you're putting guys into specific spots, okay, how do you want to highlight him? How do you complement the things he does? It's a lot of fun because you get to go back, and I watched all his targets from Vegas, and I'm having great conversations with him on the side of like, okay, what are some of the things you liked? How did they use you? How did they coach it up? And then how can we bring those conversations to Bryce so you two are on the same page? He mentioned it early last spring and in training camp. He's like, I'm not used to just being put all over the place in different spots in the offense. And he's like, is that what it's going to feel like during the season? And I was like, no, this is actually a form of like conceptual learning that we want all of the guys to have. We had a lot of young skills, and we want to push them to conceptually learn. Hunter's included in that, being new to our offense. So we put him in all the different spots so we knew what the concepts were, and now we get to pick and choose where those guys are going into a game week to maximize the matchups that we have.
Okay, so that was all gobbledygook. Like, they liked Hunter Renfrow. Again, my tinfoil hat for Hunter was that he's going to end up on the coaching staff. What you did, 3 years ago for the Raiders, for a team that doesn't even have the same front office, the same coach, not the same scheme, not the same anything. The idea that Hunter Renfrow was going to be able to come off of his couch and immediately affect this team was immediately nullified the minute he was not on the 53. The minute that Dave Canales went up to that podium and said, yeah, man, I mean, he had the hamstring and the thing, we're really asking him if this is really what he wants to do. Like, the idea that they just did a 180 on him and now they're like, oh my God, I love all your cut-ups from the Raiders. Man, that's so long ago. Like, no, I'm sorry. I'm out on Renfrow. I understand they want him there as the veteran, but at this point, I don't care. We have David Moore, and as much as I don't like David Moore, Hunter Renfrow's not it, man. David Moore is better than Hunter Renfrow.
Great. Appreciate you.
Yep.
We have time for one more. We'll finish off with Mike K.
All right.
Brad, I know you're the resident Bryson Tremaine expert on the staff. We saw him get some offensive reps in this previous game. I mean, he came in on a future reserve contract and had -2 yards on his resume. Like, what did he truly do during the summer beyond special teams in your mind to earn, an every week role and a role on offense?
He contributes on special teams. He's huge. He can block, and he's a safe target for Bryce to throw to, not throw through.
One more time. Who are you asking about? I didn't cut out.
Oh, sorry. Bryson Tremaine.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you know that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he came in with like -2 yards on his resume and was a future reserve guy.
Yeah.
What did he do outside of special teams to really earn a role in your offense? And what did you see from him in the summer that maybe kind of, I guess, reinforced, taking a gamble on him based on your relationship?
Well, first of all, I think he's going to have a great day of practice today. If you're putting the -2 out there, I think that'll fire him up. But I would say the consistency and the approach that Bryson's had since he got here. Obviously, in the spring, we didn't get to see him much with the foot. So I was kind of telling Rob Moore, I was like, hey, just trust me on this one. Trust me, you're gonna like the guy. We're gonna hope that the health holds up for us. And then when he was healthy, he goes full tilt. You're about to talk to Tracy Smith. He's going to double down on this. I guarantee it. He goes full tilt every snap. You're going to get every ounce that you can out of him. He plays physical, and then he's strong. He's strong to the catch point, right? He wants to attack everything we do, and it's really just couples with exactly that fundamental piece of what we want the culture on our offense to be, attacking in nature. So we want all of our guys to present that to the defense, that we're dictating the tempo. We're dictating the physicality, and we're dictating, at the catch point, that's my ball, I'm going to get it. And he did a great job of that in camp. He did a great job in Cleveland when we had the joint practice against Cleveland. I think he caught the last touchdown at the end of practice, and, guys stormed the field, the quarter field that we had. But just his approach, and really that whole room is led by Rob, helped out by Keyshawn Coleman. They never stop coaching those guys, and they never stop trying to get better every single day. And Bryson's a great example of a guy who missed a lot of time in the spring, but all of that mental investment that those coaches have put into him, just let him hit the ground running when he got here in the fall for us.
And again, we've already gone over Tracy Smith, who talked quite great, honestly, about Bryson Tremaine. I like Bryson Tremaine. Again, big physical guy. I'm pretty sure it was the dude in the preseason, or maybe it was the Fan Fest game that had that crazy catch where he went over a dude and then still got drilled in the ribs. I mean, I'm 100% sold on a guy like Bryson Tremaine. I don't think that I need to even have a conversation about him. Again, I would even probably put him over a guy like Hunter Renfrow, who's already constantly hurt, it feels like. Bryson's going to take a long time to develop, though. He's high end a wide receiver 3, but to be honest, most of his impact's going to be assisting in the run game, being engaged with corners for, opening it up down the field, hopefully, stuff like that. And then, of course, special teams. I really appreciate you making it this far. It helps out the channel, and I cannot thank you enough. Hopefully, one of these other videos are ones that you like as well, but if not, I can't wait to catch you in the next one. My name is Nick, and this has been Roll Coverage.